old souls, young souls, and all my damn souls in between. Happy New Year and welcome to our 2021 throwback episode. We're going to be highlighting some of the best moments on the podcast from season 1 and 2, and through working with 3 different studios. It has been a whole year since dropping Old Soul Young World episode 1, which aired on the first week of January 2021. Happy first birthday to my baby, Old Soul Young World podcast. Created to highlight people who have an old soul, are different, struggled for success, started a business, or just have something to say. We've had it all in 2021. 2022 is going to be a huge year for me, for Old Soul Young World, and for you. Always manifest your success and your intentions. Speaking of intentions, tune in, grab your bottle of champagne, grab your friends, and let's get it poppin'. We're about to highlight some of the best bottle pops from 2021. Check this out. Welcome back to another week of Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jessie Ellie.
Oh, you were right, yo.
That was we manifested that, I think.
We did manifest that. Manifestation is key, guys.
Does work.
That's what we're starting the show with.
Hey. Okay. All right, you need to calm down, bottle.
Hey. It's not a very special guest.
That's how lit it is tonight.
Yo, I can't make that up. This bottle's been sitting for hours. It was so lit that it had to explode on my hand in season 2. With your host, Jessie Ellie. Jessie Ellie.
I'm surprised you got that on the first hit.
You know? But tonight, finally, we have on the show Mr. Marlon in a Vibe podcast studio.
It's a vibe.
Here on Old Soul Young World, one topic has always remained consistent since starting the show: the importance of mental health, and guests being able to openly talk about it on my podcast. Being someone who has struggled with anxiety and depression since a young age, I want to shout out some of my guests who did the same.
I hadn't heard anybody genuinely tell me that they loved me for months. And I hadn't heard anybody genuinely tell me they loved me and believed it for months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, yo.
There's a lot of times where I'm just like, you know, in my head, and I'm just like, I overcomplicate myself, and I think that things are just tougher than what they really are. But really, you know, you really just have to look within and understand that, like, if you woke up today and you still have everybody around you and you are able to love and give and receive and, you know, go about daily life, you should be, you know, you have everything you really need to be successful.
That's called bars.
100%.
So
That's a gem.
We put way too much pressure on young people these days, at least from my experience and from what I'm seeing now, especially with young kids with now social media. They have this so much pressure to be a certain thing, whereas like we were able to, when we were young, to just express ourselves, you know what I mean, however we wanted, or at least not however we wanted, but diverting from what expectations were.
We have to find our path, you know what I mean? And our parents have a certain mindset on top of what we don't even know yet. It's like, how do you combine those?
Trying to lead by example, pave the way, because people will follow. That's the key. We're opening a door for urban kids, for unfortunate kids that need a role model, that need an example. And that's the key.
Not only do we pop bottles on this podcast, but we drop gems, aka knowledge, for my people who need a weekly pick-me-up. My guests have dropped so much motivational advice on this show, we have to throw it back. Kick back, listen up, and apply these pieces of wisdom to your new year.
Don't let nobody tell you anything, man. If you feeling something, go get it. Go do it.
Exactly.
Full force. Don't let nobody
No matter
tell
where you came from, right? What race you
literally,
are,
nah.
what language you speak,
Nothing.
doesn't matter.
Come from the gutter. Go get it. Like whatever you want to do, go get it. But you gotta believe it though.
I have to thank photography for really like pushing me out of my comfort zone. because I was definitely the type of person who didn't want to talk to new people. I didn't want to like.
So weird. I don't even see that in you.
I know.
Like, yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. I used to be like super shy.
Yeah.
Super shy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do photography. I don't have to talk to anybody. Right? I'm just taking pictures.
Right behind the lens.
And I was dead wrong.
Yeah.
Dead wrong.
Yeah.
You have to be
That's a cool
social.
ass point. Yeah, you do.
You have to be social.
It's not just about like having a camera.
I know how to edit video. I know how to do photography, anything to like enhance my learning of like skills pretty much, right? I like the typical stuff, like I like history and things like that, documentaries, but as far as like anything that has to do with like the art form, like I'm in there learning it, you know?
But I think that like if you have a huge platform and you're telling people to like beat on a certain activist group or something like that, and let's say you have like 3 million, I don't know, 30 million followers, then I think there's a responsibility that either that social media platform has to not necessarily like block you or like you can't have an account, but I think to put it down because people can get hurt.
You don't make the art for anybody. You have to do it. If you can't do it for yourself, it doesn't, because somebody's always going to critique your art. Something, it sucks. Oh, it's not.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, who cares? You know,
cares,
it doesn't
right?
really matter. No, it doesn't.
Nobody.
But what's going to happen is if you tend to like listen to that all the time, then you get that block. Then you lack that confidence. Then you start doubting yourself, rethinking, and then what happens is you start dying out. You start like getting dry. You know what I'm saying? And once that happens, I'm not saying that you can't get out of it because you can. You just have to be around people who are creative.
I was raised to believe like, yo, if you're smart, you can do anything, right? So it's about applied knowledge. So you know what I'm saying? It's one thing
not
to be
learn knowledge, applied knowledge.
Right. So it's one thing to be smart. It's another thing to be able to use that in the real world to achieve your dreams. And I think that's kind of why we're here today.
100%.
As long as you just solve one problem at a time, you know what that is? That's a win.
Yo.
And you just keep piling up those wins and wins and wins and wins until you've made it to the mountaintop. That's it.
100%.
So keep solving problems.
Yes.
Like countless other black men around the world in different hoods going through the same shit. Different hoods, same song. They hung up the phone. Last time you talked to them, you know what I mean? Never made it home. Just, you never speak to them again.
On the daily.
Exactly. And I knew that was going to resonate with a lot of people because I was going through it. Shiz was going through it. I know there's a lot of other people around the world, not just in the United States.
Yes. When we run, it's not about us. It's not. It's really not. It's about everybody else battling out there every single day. You know what I mean? Because we're battling every single day. We have our demons we deal with every day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? We're trying to cope with that on a daily, and we understand what's going on in the outside world. When we were young growing up, we didn't understand. That's why we were out there doing what we were doing. But as we got older now and we connected in this journey, we're understanding that, we're visualizing that. So now we're trying to put a stop to that.
If you've been an avid Old Soul Young World listener, you know that we are a cannabis-friendly, cannabis advocate podcast. We have had the honor of interviewing multiple cannabis companies, dispensaries, and startups to grow our insight on this up-and-coming industry.
Our community specifically, I can walk into a store and then buy weed. That in itself is like a blessing.
I know. It's such a come up, honestly.
Because and listen, like I do.
And the signs, you see all the signs when you're driving to Boston and shit?
Right.
There's like billboards everywhere now.
And listen, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't still, like, I support everybody.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Same.
So I'm not like just going to dispensaries, but the fact that that's there and I can go into one, and I do, and I support many dispensaries in Massachusetts.
Yes.
And it's especially important to support the ones that are doing good things in the community.
100%.
Because we're in a world where a lot of them aren't. So anytime, and that's why I'm so passionate about some of our partners.
Yeah.
Can
I just say, I was just thinking about the therapeutic.
Family owned.
We're going to do a little podcast shit. So
They're amazing.
I just want to shout them out. Like
they're awesome.
Yeah, I can't
love
wait.
Apatho. Love the whole crew there. They're so amazing.
Apatho Therapeutics, social media content manager, and also just an awesome part of the team.
So Dinner Mary's started January of last year. So I guess we're 2.5 years in. Which seems like a long time. Doesn't feel like that long of a time.
Rowan Relief is a black-owned, social equity certified marijuana delivery operator that is going to be wholesaling from the finest cultivators and product manufacturers, putting the weed on wheels and bringing it right to the consumer's door.
You know, guys, these guests really get me going sometimes. I get so motivated that I just have to go on rants of my own and talk my truth. Here are a couple moments I got caught up in Inspirational Rants.
All have an internal struggle, internal dialect, a dialogue, whatever it may be, but you only show like one side to everybody. You don't want to open up and show that like the real shit, the shit that goes on behind the scenes. There is no rush. There is no time on your life except the timestamp that you put on your life, except the expectation and the stress that you put on yourself. And we are our own biggest competition. I don't need any other competition because I already got enough with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like every day, moving forward.
Talk to him.
We spit truth on here.
Gosh.
This is old soul, young world, guys.
Hell yes. Don't let a man or woman have to be there to back you up or be the other half to you, because you can be the other half to you. You feel me?
Everyone needs to be on that culture and on that wave of creating a new self and creating a better self, whether it's for them, for their family, for their business. You know, that's what I'm here to talk about. You know, I didn't get here by just being quiet my whole life. Like, you have to face yourself and you have to speak up.
Sometimes me and my guests can't help but cracking up on the podcast. Tune in for a few of our funniest moments from the last couple seasons.
Do that shit.
Do that fucking shit.
Do that shit.
Do that fucking shit.
Do that shit.
Do that shit.
Do that shit. I can already see you guys doing this shit. Yes, I can see you guys doing this shit.
We were just manifesting it for you guys through ASMR. Don't worry.
Should be.
Oh, we have a podcast power. Podcast power.
Over the seasons, I've had a handful of guests who have met a celebrity while growing up or while working in the industry. Watch as Mav highlights meeting Common, Lisa Finelli books Redman, and Dev Alexander meets and lands a cannabis deal with Paul Pierce.
I had a band in college called Versatile. I'm the lead singer. I'm the rapper. You know what I'm saying? So like my friends, and I'm in the front row because I'm in programming council. You know what I mean? So that's a classic example of being in the right place at the right time. So I'm in the front row. All my friends are pointing at me when Common says this. I get up on stage. I had my 16 ready.
Oh my gosh, he rocked the mic.
You walked in the restaurant. This woman walked to the back, went to a bookcase, pulled the book out, and she started sliding.
Stop it.
And they were like, right this way, sir. I was like, yeah, what's about to happen right now?
It's going down tonight.
Yeah, no, it was an open bar, a lot of food around. And Paul walked down by himself. You know, I just walked up to him. I actually met him twice before at like autograph signings, but this is like the first time I can like talk to him and have him remember who I am.
Facts.
And I'm like, yeah, man. I tried to play it cool, and I was like, yeah, bro, you're like my childhood idol. He's a wicked chill guy.
Yeah.
He's down to earth. I've met celebrities before that are kind of douchebags, but Paul's really chill.
Yeah. The show with Redman, while he was here, they decided to shoot a music video. So I just get a text like, yo, come down to the shoot, just ready to be on camera.
Like, I can't say no, so
all right. But it's a Redman video, so what does that mean? Like, I'm not, you know, like, I don't know, like, how do they think I'm gonna show up, you know?
Right.
So I get there, and they're pretty much just a whole bunch of people smoking weed in a room. And I was like, I can get down with this.
Thanks.
I can do that.
Old school, old soul, you know we love to throw it back to different art forms. Old Soul Young World was blessed with having 4 scratch DJs on the show for 2 different episodes. Huge shout out to these guys for doing a live performance on the show and chopping up with me for an interview after.
I am Shakespeare in the
if you guys heard what I heard, and you didn't see exactly what I seen with my own eyes, but they cut that shit up. They were doing tricks behind their back. They were doing skirts. They were doing...
An old soul in a young world to me means that you have a soul that has more knowledge or wisdom than the body it was put into. To feel a little different or out of place in your generation, or maybe even just in this fast-paced world. All of these things and all of the years of being told that I'm an old soul, it's been amazing to see the responses I get from my guests when I ask them, what do you think it means to be an old soul in the young world?
Being that person that, I don't know, just makes someone's day, even when you don't know them. I think the authentic part is kind of just being grounded. And that's kind of why I say authentic and grounding in being that person in the world that kind of brings the light.
The things that I felt, I'm learning them as an adult, but I felt them as a young person.
Yep.
Showing off and being flashy and being materialistic and trying to have it all. And I feel like when you're an old soul, it's really not about that.
Like, you know, part of being an old soul is kind of like recognizing that you've probably already lived many lives. And that you've probably, you know, had this wisdom inside you that kind of was not your fault, but it's a gift.
My musical preference is 90s hip hop, so I really listen to. So I consider myself an old soul in that aspect. I know a lot of that, you know, me and my mom are very close in age. She had me when she was 16. I was born in 93, so it was really all the music that I grew up listening to, you know. So.
Like if you're an old soul, you're more relatable to people around your age than the actual like old souls, you know, who have that wisdom.
Yeah.
So it's your duty to use that wisdom and pass it along to your friends. You know, who won't listen to their parents, who won't listen to their grandparents, you know what I mean?
Right.
To be that calm, you know what I mean? To be that anchor in a generation where, you know, you're supposed to be wilding. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you have a responsibility to be a leader.
Well, everyone, that was the end of our 2021 recap of Old Soul Young World podcast, episodes 16 through 43. I have an unmeasurable love, respect, and appreciation for every guest who has ever come on to support the show or support me. Just remember, our biggest supporters may not be the people closest to us, but that support from a stranger means the most. Reach out this year. Support your friends, those around you, people starting small businesses, dispensaries, and entrepreneurs. If you made it through 2021 and onto 2022, you already won. And make sure you tune in to Old Soul Young World podcast every week with your host, Jesse Elliott.